Hey guys, tonight we're stepping inside the quiet, mysterious world of a medieval monastery to discover what life was really like for the monks who lived there. Beyond the stone walls and cloisters, these men dedicated themselves to prayer, work, and study, but their daily routine was far from simple. From strict discipline to moments of unexpected creativity and community, medieval monastery life shaped history in ways you might never have imagined. If you love exploring hidden corners of the past, this video is for you. Before we begin, don't forget to like, subscribe, and drop a comment telling us where you're watching from. The soft tolling of bells drifts through the cool, still air. You are nestled deep in the heart of the monastery, where the dawn's first light has barely begun to brush the thick stone walls. The sound is gentle yet commanding, summoning the monks from their simple wooden beds. It's earlier than most would dare be awake, but here, the day is measured not by the sun, but by these rhythmic chimes that call all to rise and greet the morning. You hear the creak of wooden floorboards as feet shuffle quietly in the dimness. The air carries a sharp freshness, tinged with the faint scent of damp stone and the lingering smoke from last night's flickering candles. The chill seeps under your robe, reminding you of the cold, unheated chambers where sleep was a brief, precious comfort. Slowly, the routine begins. You imagine the monks pulling their coarse habits around them, rubbing sleep from tired eyes. Their movements are methodical, no sudden rush here, just the practiced rhythm of centuries. You can almost feel the rough texture of the linen and wool against skin, accustomed to austerity. A soft murmur fills the corridors as brothers begin washing at stone basins. The water is cold, shocking at first, the sensation sharp as it splashes against skin, still heavy with sleep. It's an awakening ritual, a cleansing not just of the body, but a preparation for the soul's work ahead. There's a certain charm in the simplicity, no luxurious comforts, just the pure essentials. You might chuckle softly, imagining the universal groan of early mornings echoed even in these sacred halls. Even monks, bound by devotion and discipline, struggle with the summons of dawn. The bell's insistence is unwavering, though drawing all from slumber to stand, kneel, and speak the prayers that mark the start of their day. The chapel awaits, a sanctuary of flickering candlelight and the cool scent of aged wood and stone. You picture rows of simple benches, a soft hush settling over the gathering as voices rise in quiet chant. The sacred words ripple through the air, a melody that has echoed here for centuries, a peaceful, solemn welcome to the day. Outside, the world begins to stir, birds offering tentative songs, the faint rustle of leaves in the morning breeze. But inside, time feels measured, deliberate. Each moment is part of a ritual, each action steeped in meaning beyond the simple passing of hours. As you breathe in this serene dawn, it's easy to feel connected to those long-ago lives, the monks, whose days unfolded in devotion, work, and prayer, their waking marked by the same gentle bells that call you now into this tranquil story. The stillness of the monastery morning wraps around you like a soft cloak, punctuated only by the low murmur of chanting and the occasional creak of ancient timber. The cold stone floors underfoot seem to absorb the footsteps, muffling them, while the flickering candles cast long, dancing shadows on the wall, shadows that feel like silent witnesses to centuries of devotion. You can almost smell the faint trace of incense lingering from the night's vigils, mingling with the crispness of the morning air. It's a scent both comforting and solemn, a reminder of the sacred space you now inhabit. The monks move with purpose but never haste, their simple wooden rosaries clicking softly against their habits as they prepare for the first prayers. As you imagine standing among them, you notice how the austere simplicity of the surroundings encourages a kind of mindfulness. There's no distraction here, no loud noises, no clutter, just the steady rhythm of ritual and the soft hum of community. You might find yourself breathing a little slower, feeling the calm settle deep within. In the quiet corners of the cloister, small pools of light catch on dew-soaked stone, and the gentle rustle of leaves outside hints at the day beginning beyond these walls. But inside, the world is still wrapped in sacred calm. Each monk, cloaked in humble habit, feels part of something larger, timeless tradition that stretches far beyond the chill of this morning. And yet, beneath the solemnity, there's a touch of warmth, of brotherhood forged not only by shared faith, but by shared routines. You can almost hear the occasional whispered joke or the soft exchange of greetings as the brothers prepare to face the day's demanding schedule. Even in this life of discipline, humanity finds its way, softly threading through the stones and prayers. As you settle deeper into this peaceful dawn, you might imagine the first faint light reaching the stained glass windows, casting colorful patterns on the cold floor. The bell's toll fades slowly, giving way to the stillness of early morning work, the rustle of parchment, the scratch of quills, the faint shuffle of sandals on stone. This is the beginning of a day lived in quiet, devotion, in simple tasks and sacred duties, marked by the unchanging rhythm of prayer and contemplation. It's a moment that invites you to pause, to breathe, and to step gently into the world of the medieval monastery, where every dawn was a chance for renewal, and every bell a call to something greater. You feel the peace here, the solemn beauty of this early hour, and you carry it with you, ready to follow the monks as they move from the stillness of morning into the purposeful flow of their day. You wake slowly as the deep, sonorous tones of the monastery bells ripple through the still morning air, filling the stone cloisters with a gentle call to prayer. It's early, darker than you expected, and cooler too. You breathe in the crispness of the dawn, the scent of cold stone mingling with faint wisps of incense still lingering from the night before. Around you, the monastery stirs quietly, the soft shuffle of bare feet on flagstones, the faint rustle of woolen habits, and the delicate flicker of candle flames create a tapestry of sound and light that feels almost sacred. This is the rhythm of the divine office, the heartbeat of monastic life. The monks gather in the chapel, their voices rising and falling in solemn chant. The ancient words, sung in unison, fill the vaulted spaces with a reverent calm. The chanting weaves through the air, wrapping around the flickering candles set along the stone walls, their light casting dancing shadows that seem to move in time. With the music you settle into the stillness, feeling the steady cadence of the prayers, the hours marked by the monastic day, matones in the deep night, lauds with the dawn, prime in the early morning, terce mid-morning, sext at midday, none, mid-afternoon, vespers in the evening, and compline before rest. Each hour brings its own cadence and focus, a meditation punctuated by scriptural readings and psalms, reminding everyone of the sacred purpose that holds the community together. The scents here are subtle but persistent, the mingling of cold stone, beeswax, candles, and a hint of myrrh or frankincense. The chapel's air is thick with centuries of devotion, an invisible comfort that settles deep in your bones. Sometimes, you find your mind wandering amid the chants. The steady, repetitive rhythms draw you in, inviting a kind of peaceful surrender. There's a gentle humor, perhaps, in the idea that even these devout souls struggle with staying alert in the early hours. But the beauty of the moment pulls them back, time and again. Between the chants, the silence feels almost as sacred. Pause to let the prayers resonate within. It's a meditation in sound and stillness, a cycle repeated daily, weaving the monks' lives into a seamless tapestry of faith and discipline. As the morning light slowly filters through the stained glass windows, the flickering candle flames begin to wane, but the rhythm of the divine office continues, steady and unbroken, shaping the very breath of the monastery itself. The divine office is not merely a set of prayers, it's a living, breathing structure that carries the monks through their days. The structure offers a gentle yet persistent reminder that their lives are devoted wholly to contemplation, community, and the pursuit of spiritual peace. Imagine the weight of these hours not burdensome, but steady, like the rise and fall of the tides guiding each moment and each breath. It's a slow, immersive dance between sound and silence, light and shadow, devotion and humanity. So as you rest here, listening to the deep tones of the chants and feeling the flicker of candlelight, let yourself be carried gently by the sacred rhythm that has shaped monastic life for centuries. And perhaps in this quiet, you find a touch of the stillness that the monks seek every day, the peace of a soul wrapped in the timeless embrace of prayer. Pause for ambient sound suggestions, soft, resonant chanting fading into gentle silence, the occasional flicker of candle flames, distant footsteps on stone. When you're ready, the next prayer hour approaches, another chance to breathe, listen, and become part of this ancient rhythm. As the morning prayers settle into a quiet close, The monks slowly disperse from the chapel, their footsteps echoing softly on the cold stone floors. The air still hums faintly with the resonance of their voices, a soothing reminder of the sacred rhythm they live by. You follow them briefly, feeling the coolness of the stone beneath your feet, and the gentle flicker of candlelight reflecting off the walls, inviting you to pause and breathe deeply. The divine office shapes every moment of their day, each canonical hour marking a sacred pause, an opportunity to step away from worldly concerns and enter into reflection. It's a cycle that has endured through centuries, a discipline that balances the rigorous work of monastic life with moments of calm devotion. You might imagine how these prayers anchor the community, creating a shared heartbeat that connects each monk to the others, and to a tradition that transcends time. Even the simplest chant carries weight, its repetition weaving threads of comfort and continuity through the day's fabric. The fragrances remain a delicate blend of beeswax, ancient stone, and the lingering sweetness of incense around you like a gentle cloak. These sensory details deepen the sense of reverence and remind you that this is a place apart, where the mundane is transformed into the sacred. In this moment, the divine office feels less like a strict routine, and more like a quiet sanctuary, a place where voices and silence meet in harmony. The monks' chants, though structured, breathe with humanity, reflecting not only discipline but also a profound longing for peace and connection. You might smile softly at the thought that, despite the solemnity, the monks to grapple with the same challenges of waking early and maintaining focus, reminding us all that devotion is after all, a deeply human endeavor. So, in the flickering candlelight and echoing silence, you were gently invited to share in this age-old rhythm, to breathe in the stillness, and to find calm in the steady cadence of prayer. Pause for ambient sound. Faint chanting fades into soft silence. Distant footsteps, a gentle breeze through cloister arches. As the next hour draws near, you feel ready to continue walking this serene path, moving gently through the daily life that is shaped and sustained by the divine office's timeless call. You step quietly into the scriptorium, the heart of knowledge and creativity within the monastery. The room is bathed in the soft, flickering glow of candles, their light dancing across the rough stone walls and the rows of wooden desks. Each desk is cluttered with parchment scrolls, ink pots, and quills poised in steady hands. The air carries a faint scent of beeswax from the candles and the subtle earthiness of aged parchment. You notice the texture beneath your fingers as you run your hand over a sheet, lightly rough but supple, the perfect canvas for ink and illumination. Nearby, a monk leans in close, his quills scratching delicately against the surface, tracing careful letters that will carry wisdom across centuries. This quiet scratching is the soundtrack of the scriptorium, punctuated only by the occasional soft sigh or the turning of a page. It's a sound that speaks of dedication, patience, and the reverence for knowledge. The monks here aren't just copying words, they're preserving the legacy of humanity, one letter at a time. Look closely at the pages before you. Some are plain, neat lines of script, but others are adorned with illuminations, vivid, colorful decorations that catch the candlelight like tiny flames. Gold leaf glimmers softly, outlining intricate patterns of flowers, vines, and sometimes miniature scenes from holy texts. Imagine the skill required, the steady hand, the careful mixing of pigments from crushed minerals and plants. These illuminations aren't merely decorative. They serve as visual stories, guiding readers through complex texts and inviting contemplation. The scriptorium was the medieval library and art studio rolled into one, a place where art and scholarship met under the quiet watch of candle flames. As you watch, you might notice the slight tension in the monk's shoulders, a testament to the meticulous care required. Mistakes were costly, for parchment was precious, and correcting errors was an art itself, often involving scraping ink gently off the surface. There's a gentle humor in imagining the tiny frustrations behind such patience. An ink blot here, a smudged letter there, all part of the human side of this solemn work. The scriptorium also served as a community hub of sorts. Though silence was golden, occasional whispers passed between desks, questions about a word, shared discoveries, or even quiet encouragement. You can almost hear the subtle warmth beneath the silence, a shared commitment to something far greater than any one monk. Beyond preserving religious texts, these manuscripts included works on medicine, philosophy, astronomy, and more. Thanks to this painstaking labor, the knowledge of the ancient world survived turbulent times, slowly illuminating the way for future generations. Imagine the hands that copied Aristotle's words, or the prayers inscribed with such care. Each stroke, a bridge between past and future. The monk's daily rhythm was woven around this work. After the divine office and meals, hours were devoted to this sacred craft. The scriptorium's light often lingered into the evening, candles burning low, as monks lost themselves in the slow, deliberate dance of pen on parchment. You might sense the reverence that filled this room, a space where the mundane act of writing transcended into a spiritual offering, a prayer in ink and color. Every letter formed was a small act of devotion, every illumination a beacon of hope. So, as you settle into the quiet of this medieval sanctuary, imagine the centuries of knowledge flowing through these candlelit hours, the whispers of scholars past, and the steady rhythm of hands preserving wisdom, page by delicate page. The scriptorium is more than just a workspace, it's a temple of learning, patience, and light, flickering gently through the ages. As the candlelight softens, let your attention drift to the materials scattered around the scriptorium's wooden tables. You see ink pots, some deep wells of black ink, others vibrant pools of red or blue, made from soot, oak galls, and minerals. Each color was carefully prepared, sometimes mixed with gum, arabic, or egg whites, to ensure smooth flow and lasting vibrancy. Imagine the gentle aroma of these natural ingredients mingling with the faint musk of parchment and aged wood. The quills themselves, often fashioned from goose feathers, are sharpened meticulously before use. You can almost feel the slight prick of the feather's tip as it dances across the surface of the parchment, leaving behind a trail of precise, looping script. Each stroke required focus. Too much pressure, and the quill could splatter ink. Too little, and the letters might fade or break. The monks practiced their penmanship as a form of meditation, each letter a deliberate breath in the sacred act of copying. Now, picture the hierarchy within the scriptorium. Not every monk wielded a quill. Some served as correctors or adding colorful embellishments or reviewing the text for errors. Senior scribes oversaw the work, ensuring that every manuscript met the exacting standards of the monastery. These roles required different skills, and together they created a seamless flow of knowledge preservation. The process was slow and steady. Pages were prepared by scraping and smoothing animal skins, known as vellum, to create the perfect writing surface. Once the manuscript was complete, it would often be bound with wooden covers wrapped in leather, sometimes adorned with metalwork or jewels, depending on the monastery's wealth. These precious volumes were then stored carefully in the monastery's library, guarded like treasures, accessible only to those with permission. Reflect for a moment on the broader impact of this work. In an era before printing presses, these manuscripts were rare and invaluable. The monks' painstaking efforts ensured that not just religious teachings, but also classical literature, scientific treatises, and historical records survived through centuries of upheaval. Imagine the future hands that would hold these books: students, scholars, and fellow monks drawn together by the quiet light of the scriptorium's legacy. Despite the solemnity of their task, there was room for small joys: the camaraderie among the scribes, the satisfaction of a perfectly formed letter, or the delight in a particularly beautiful illumination brightened the long hours. Perhaps a quiet joke passed with a nod, or a shared glance of approval over a successfully completed page. As you let your mind wander through this peaceful chamber, picture the flickering candles casting tall shadows, the soft rustling of parchment as pages are turned, and the rhythmic scratch of quills continuing their timeless work. It's a world where knowledge is crafted with care, patience, and devotion, a sanctuary of light. In the medieval night, you wake with the lingering chill of dawn creeping through the small window of the monastery's refectory. The air holds a quiet stillness, broken only by the distant tolling of bells and the soft shuffle of monks preparing for their morning meal. The stone walls, cool to the touch, carry the faint aroma of last night's embers and a hint of coarse bread soon to be broken. As you enter the refectory, the long wooden tables stretch ahead, simple yet sturdy, each place marked with a plain wooden bowl and a spoon carved from a single piece of wood. The benches are unadorned, made for function rather than comfort, much like the lives of those who gather here. The low murmur of prayers rises and falls as the brothers settle quietly, mindful of the sacred rhythm that guides their day. The meal itself is humble, no grand displays here. You taste the pottage, a thick, nourishing stew simmered with root, vegetables and grains, flavored with just a whisper of herbs grown in the monastery garden. It is earthy and warm, a gentle comfort against the morning chill. The bread is dense, with a chewy crust that crackles softly under your fingers. It scents a mix of freshly ground barley and the faint smokiness of the oven's flame. Fasting and abstinence shape much of the monastic diet. Meat is rare, reserved for specific feast days, while fish makes occasional appearances, reflecting the church's calendar and its call to penance. The monk's commitment to simplicity is a daily lesson in humility, a reminder that sustenance serves the spirit as much as the body. It's fascinating to imagine that even here, in this world removed from the noise of the outside, the monks find moments to jest quietly about the predictability of their meals. At least the bread never argues back. Someone might whisper, with a smile, communal dining is more than nourishment. It's a ritual of unity and reflection. Meals begin and end with a reading, often a passage from scripture or the life of a saint, grounding the brothers in purpose and gratitude. The silence maintained during eating encourages inward contemplation. The quiet punctuated only by the occasional clink of wooden bowls and soft footsteps. Imagine the flickering candlelight casting gentle shadows across the stone, the monks' habits rustling softly as they lift their bowls, the faint aroma of herbal tea rising alongside the bread's scent. The pace is slow, measured, inviting not just digestion of food, but of thought and prayer. In this space, every bite connects to centuries of tradition, to a way of life that values restraint and devotion over indulgence. The simplicity of the monastic diet belies its complexity in discipline and intention. It teaches patience, respect for the gifts of the earth, and a daily practice of gratitude. Even in its austerity, there is a subtle richness found in shared moments, in the quiet camaraderie of a brotherhood bound by faith and routine. So you sit, part of this centuries-old rhythm, tasting the humble fare, breathing in the cool stone air warmed by soft candlelight, and letting the calm, unhurried flow of monastic life settle gently around you. As you sit with your bowl of pottage, you notice how each ingredient carries a story. The root vegetables, hardy and unassuming, were likely pulled from the monastery's own garden just hours before, their earthy aroma a testament to the care with which they were tended. The grains, simple yet sustaining, speak of long days of harvesting and threshing, often by the same hands now resting quietly in prayer. The ritual of fasting weaves through the monastic calendar like a steady thread. Certain days call for complete abstinence from food until evening, while others require the avoidance of meat or indulgent flavors. This self-denial is not mere hardship, but a spiritual exercise, a way to clear the mind and soul from distraction. And yet, it's not without its moments of humor. You can almost hear a whispered chuckle among the brothers when hunger strikes. Even the pottage tastes like a feast fit for a king. In the refectory's gentle hush, you become aware of the unspoken bonds forged over these modest meals, the shared silence, the communal breaking of bread, the collective focus on spiritual nourishment. These are the threads that hold the monastic community together, stronger than stone walls or iron gates. It's a reminder that simplicity can be profound, that in modesty there is strength. Every meal is also a lesson in mindfulness. The monks eat slowly, savoring each bite, not for pleasure, but for sustenance and gratitude. Their attention to the act of eating reflects a deeper awareness of the body's needs, a respect often lost in the rush of modern life. You might find yourself breathing a little slower, feeling the warmth of the pottage settle in your stomach, and appreciating the quiet ritual unfolding around you. The sounds of the refectory are subtle, yet rich. The soft scrape of wooden spoons against bowls, the rustle of woolen habits, the occasional clearing of a throat, and the whisper of prayers. Outside, the morning sun begins to seep through narrow windows, casting long shafts of light that dance across the rough-hewn tables. The scent of burning tallow mingles with that of the food, creating an atmosphere that is both humble and sacred. Despite the austerity, the monks find joy in these moments. The simplicity of the meal is a canvas for deeper connection to their faith, to one another, and to the natural world. The ritual offers a steady heartbeat to the day, a grounding presence that carries through hours of labor, study, and contemplation. Imagine the camaraderie, not in loud laughter but in shared glances and small smiles. The quiet humor exchanged, in knowing glances as someone deftly navigates the occasional stubborn crust or unexpectedly bitter bite. The refectory is a place where discipline and humanity intertwine, where the austere meets the tender, and where each meal is a meditation on sustenance, sacrifice, and grace. So as you lift your spoon once more, tasting the simple pottage and breathing in the cool, candle-lit air, you become part of this ancient tradition, a quiet celebration of modesty, community, and the sacred rhythm of monastic life. The quiet settles again, the soft sounds fading as the monks rise and prepare to move on to their next task, carrying with them the calm strength nurtured by their simple, shared meal. The modest refectory lingers in your senses, the lingering warmth of the food, the faint glow of candlelight, the peaceful hush of devotion, reminding you gently that in simplicity there is profound grace. You step outside the quiet stone walls of the monastery, the air crisp with the gentle touch of morning dew, and your hands find their familiar place among the soil and tools that shape each day. Here, work isn't just a means to an end, it's prayer, discipline, and devotion woven into the rhythm of the day. The garden stretches before you, rows of hardy vegetables and fragrant herbs thriving under your care. Your fingers brush through the earth cool, crumbly, and alive with the promise of growth. The scent of damp soil mingles with the faint aroma of rosemary and thyme, tickling your senses as you kneel to tend the shoots pushing toward the sun. Pull weeds with a slow, deliberate patience, aware that each motion is more than labor, it's a meditation, a sacred practice echoing the monastic vow to ora et labora, to pray and work. The dirt under your nails is a humble badge of this quiet devotion. Nearby, the lowing of cattle and the clucking of chickens form a gentle soundtrack to the morning chores. You check the animals, feeling the warmth of a cow's coat, the roughness of a hen's feathers, and the steady rhythm of their breath. Caring for these creatures is a responsibility both practical and spiritual, a way to nurture life entrusted to your stewardship. The monastery's buildings stand firm and silent, but their upkeep calls for your steady hands too. You carry a basket of tools, hammers, nails, and wooden planks to the workshop, where beams creak softly in the morning light. Repairing a cracked wall or a leaking roof is more than maintenance. It's preserving a sanctuary, a place for peace and prayer. You pause to wipe the sweat from your brow, the coolness of the morning turning slowly to warmth. The sun climbs higher, casting dappled light through the leaves as your muscles stretch and flex in the familiar motions of work. Sometimes a stubborn tool slips, or a knot in the wood refuses to give little reminders that even in sacred labor, patience is a necessary companion. Through the changing seasons, this cycle continues. Spring brings the planting of seeds, summer demands watering and weeding under the heat, autumn harvests the fruits of your efforts, and winter offers rest, though the work of mending and planning never truly ceases. Each season carries its own challenges and blessings, all part of the sacred rhythm. Work is woven into the fabric of monastic life, not as punishment or mere necessity, but as a path to humility and focus. Your body moves, your mind centers, and your spirit finds expression in the physical tasks that connect you deeply to the earth and to your faith. In these quiet moments, where they're planting a row of beans, tending the flock, or hammering a wooden beam, you find a profound balance. The sweat and effort speak of human frailty, but also of steadfast devotion, reminding you that in the simplest acts of labor lies a powerful prayer. The monastery thrives on this union of work and worship, where each task, no matter how small or earthy, is a step toward holiness. And as you breathe in the fresh air, feel the sun's warmth, and hear the soft murmur of nature around you, you settle comfortably into this ancient dance of body, mind, and soul. You carry on, day after day, the quiet work shaping both the monastery and yourself, a testament to the humble power of manual labor as prayer and discipline as you move through the monastery grounds, your hands stained with earth and your breath steady. You realize how every task is infused with meaning. The repetitive motion of hoeing the soil, the rhythmic sweeping of the stone courtyards, and the careful feeding of the animals all serve as reminders of your place in the larger order of things, humble cog in a sacred machine. The tools you use are simple but sturdy, passed down through generations, each bearing the marks of years of faithful use. The wooden handles smooth beneath your grasp, the iron blades gleaming faintly in the soft morning light. Sometimes, you catch yourself marveling at how such basic instruments help transform barren earth into flourishing life. How work can be an act of creation as much as devotion. The air is alive with the mingling scents of fresh-cut grass, herbs crushed underfoot, and the faint smoke rising from the communal hearths where meals will soon be prepared. The quiet clucking of hens blends with the distant toll of the bell calling the monks to their next hour of prayer, seamless weave of labor and worship. As the day unfolds, you find solace in the repetitive tasks, their steady rhythm a balm to the mind. There is a meditative quality to the work. Each action, whether digging a furrow or repairing a fence, becomes a mantra, a silent prayer offered with intention and care. The seasons shape your labors, bringing variety and challenges. In spring, the earth is soft and welcoming, and the promise of new life stirs hope. Summer days are long and hot, the sun beating down as you tend the growing crops. Autumn's harvest rewards your toil, though it also ushers in urgency and fatigue. Winter's chill slows the pace, offering moments for rest and reflection. Even as the work of maintaining the monastery continues indoors, you occasionally share a quiet smile with fellow monks, their presence a comforting reminder that you are not alone in this life of toil and faith. Together, you sustain the monastery, not just through prayer, but through the tangible fruits of your labor. In this balance of body and spirit, work becomes more than duty. It is a path to humility, a means to discipline, and a form of worship. The earth beneath your feet, the tools in your hands, and the rhythm of your labor all ground you in a sacred routine that has endured for centuries. You step softly onto the worn stone path of the cloister, the heart of the monastery's quiet world. The early morning air is cool and crisp, carrying the subtle fragrance of herbs tucked into neat garden beds. As you move beneath the graceful stone arcades, your footsteps echo faintly, mingling with the gentle rustle of leaves and the occasional chirp of a morning bird. The cloister is an enclosed sanctuary, a square of tranquility surrounded by sturdy walls and vaulted arches. It's a place designed for both physical movement and spiritual stillness, where monks pace slowly, eyes lowered or lifted in prayerful thought. You feel the coolness of the stone beneath your feet and the soft shadow play as sunlight filters through the arches, casting delicate patterns on the ground around you. The garden blooms quietly. Thyme, lavender, rosemary, and sage release their calming scents into the air, blending with the earthy aroma of damp soil and freshly watered plants. Bees hum lazily, and the breeze carries the distant murmur of the chapel bells, calling for the next prayer. It's a gentle reminder of the rhythm that shapes every moment here. Walking these cloister paths, you sense the power of silence. Words are few, spoken only when necessary, and even then, softly. This silence is not emptiness but fullness, a space where the mind can settle and the soul can listen. You imagine the monks here, carrying their burdens of thought and faith, finding peace in these quiet steps, their minds drifting like leaves on a still pond. The simplicity of the cloister encourages a slowing down, a deep breathing out after the flurry of daily tasks. As you walk, you feel the steady beat of your own heart, in tune with the natural world around you, the soft touch of the cool stone walls, the gentle sway of herbs in the breeze, the bird songs weaving through the arches. These are the subtle companions on this contemplative journey. Silence here is both a gift and a discipline. It allows space for reflection, a pause between actions, a moment to turn inward. You might picture the monks pausing in the shade, their hands folded or fingers tracing the worn edges of a prayer book, or perhaps simply gazing upward, catching a glimpse of the vast sky framed by the cloister's stonework, feeling both small and connected. Occasionally, a solitary monk crosses your path, nodding gently in acknowledgement before slipping into quiet solitude again. There is no hurry, no chatter, only the soft cadence of footsteps and the whispers of nature. The garden is more than a patch of earth. It's a living symbol of growth, patience, and care, virtues nurtured alongside the body and spirit. You might notice the subtle signs of human touch here: a carefully pruned branch, a path cleared of fallen leaves, a bird bath fashioned from a simple stone basin. These small acts of tending mirror the monks' commitment to order and harmony, both in their surroundings and their inner lives. Imagine pausing by a bed of fragrant lavender, brushing a hand over the soft leaves, feeling their delicate texture. The scent fills your senses, grounding you in the present moment. You breathe deeply, the crisp air mingling with the herbal perfume, and feel a calm wash over you as the sun climbs higher. Light filters through the arches with increasing warmth, dappling the stones and illuminating the green leaves. Shadows shift slowly, marking time in a gentle dance. The cloister remains a sanctuary from the outside world, a retreat for contemplation amid the rhythm of monastic life. Perhaps you pause beneath a towering yew or ancient oak, its gnarled branches spreading wide. These trees, silent witnesses to centuries of prayer and passage, offer a quiet strength. Their steady presence reminds you of the enduring nature of this place and the centuries of souls who have found solace here. In these moments of quiet walking, you might reflect on the balance of solitude and community that defines monastic life. The cloister is a space where one is both alone and part of a greater whole, a rhythm of shared silence and shared purpose. Each step you take echoes with the footsteps of those who came before, threading together generations in a tapestry of devotion. Let your mind settle on the gentle hum of life within this sacred garden, the subtle interplay of stone, plant, sound, and silence, weaving together an atmosphere of serene contemplation. Here, the ordinary becomes extraordinary, and every breath invites a deeper connection with the present dot. As you continue your quiet walk, you feel the peaceful rhythm of the cloister enveloping you, a balm for the restless mind. The world outside seems distant and hurried, but here, time slows, and the heart opens. The cloister's simple beauty and solemn silence offer a sanctuary not just for monks, but for anyone seeking a moment's respite, a space to breathe and be. You imagine stepping back from this tranquil path, carrying a fragment of this calm into the day ahead, a gentle reminder of stillness, presence, and the sacred in the everyday dot. The air shifts softly as you near the cloister's edge, the sounds of the monastery's busy day beginning to stir in the distance. Yet, within you, lingers the quiet grace of this place, a whisper of peace to carry with you. You take one last breath, filled with the scents and sounds of the cloister garden, and gently step back toward the monastery's life, calm and centered. Find yourself stepping quietly into the abbot's chamber, a space that feels both stately and serene, a perfect reflection of its occupant's role within the monastery. The walls here hold the weight of countless decisions made with care, and the gentle rustle of robes seems to echo with the steady rhythm of leadership. The abbot's presence is a delicate balance between authority and compassion. Picture him seated at a large wooden table, surrounded by the soft glow of candlelight and the scent of worn parchment. His robes, simple yet dignified, brush softly as he moves, his gestures measured and deliberate, each conveying a sense of thoughtful consideration. Here, amidst the flickering shadows, the abbot meets with his fellow monks to discuss the monastery's daily affairs, the allocation of resources, the schedule of prayers, and the guidance of novices learning their way. It's a role that requires not only spiritual wisdom, but also practical management. As the abbot ensures the smooth running of a complex community, imagine the calm voice that gently mediates disputes, offering both correction and encouragement. Discipline is not harsh but a guiding hand, reminding everyone of their shared commitment without stifling their individuality. And yet, beneath the formality lies a human warmth, a sense of care that threads through every decision and conversation. The abbot is also a judge, called upon to resolve conflicts or to weigh in on moral questions that arise within the cloistered walls. His judgments carried the weight of tradition, tempered by an understanding of each monk's unique struggles and strengths. Picture the quiet moments after a difficult decision, where he retreats briefly to reflect and pray, seeking guidance for the path ahead. Leadership here is never solitary. The abbot listens as much as he speaks, aware that the health of the monastery depends on the trust and harmony of its members. His role is that of a shepherd, tending both the spiritual growth and the practical needs of his flock. And yet, even with such responsibility, there's room for lightness, a knowing smile when a novice stumbles over Latin phrases, or a wry chuckle at the occasional mishap in the garden. These moments remind you that the abbot, for all his authority, walks alongside his brothers in the shared journey of monastic life. The abbot's day is woven seamlessly between solemn rituals and practical tasks. You might picture him moving through the cloister with calm purpose, sometimes pausing to offer a brief word of encouragement to a monk bent over his work, other times addressing the needs of visitors or managing the monastery's relations with the outside world. Imagine the soft clinking of keys as he opens storerooms or ledger books, the faint scent of ink and vellum accompanying his duties. These records are more than mere paperwork. They hold the story of the community's sustenance, its charity, and its legacy. The abbot carries the responsibility for not only spiritual well-being, but also the material welfare of his brethren. Occasionally, you might hear the murmur of his voice rising in prayer or counsel, a steady beacon amidst the monastery's daily rhythm. When disagreements arise, perhaps over tasks or interpretation of rules, he listens patiently, balancing justice with mercy. It's a delicate dance, requiring wisdom and humility in equal measure. Leadership also means foresight. The abbot plans for the seasons, ensuring that the monastery's gardens, livestock, and workshops thrive through careful stewardship. Picture him walking alongside the gardeners, offering gentle advice, or sharing a quiet joke about the stubbornness of a particular plot of land. In times of hardship, whether illness among the monks or scarcity of supplies, the abbot's role deepens. He becomes a source of comfort and strength, reminding his community of their shared purpose and the enduring nature of their vows. His compassion is felt in small acts, a shared meal, a comforting hand on a shoulder, a silent vigil beside a sick brother. And through it all, the abbot remains grounded in prayer. The weight of responsibility does not deter his own spiritual devotion. Instead, it fuels it. You can almost hear the soft rustle of his habit as he kneels in the chapel, the whispered words of ancient psalms rising into the cool stone air. In this role, authority and kindness intertwine like the ivy on the monastery walls, each supporting the other, creating a foundation for the community to flourish. The abbot's leadership is a quiet force, steadying the hearts and hands of those entrusted to his care. As you imagine this scene unfolding, you feel the steady heartbeat of monastic life, though delicate balance of duty and devotion, discipline and compassion, all held together by the guiding hand of the abbot. The abbot's presence lingers softly in the monastery's quiet corners, a reminder that leadership is as much about gentle guidance as it is about solemn authority. His day, woven with prayer and practical care, shapes the rhythm of the community, offering a steady light within these ancient stone walls. And as the monastery breathes around him, you sense the deep harmony between spirit and service, held together by this quiet, compassionate hand. You find yourself in a quiet chamber within the monastery's sturdy walls, where learning takes a humble but vital place. The flicker of candlelight dances gently on worn wooden desks, casting shadows that mingle with the soft rustle of parchment and the scratch of quills. Around you, novices lean in close, their faces a mix of concentration and tentative curiosity, as they grapple with the carefully penned Latin texts before them. The air carries a faint scent of beeswax and aged ink, mingling with the cool atmosphere that seems to hold centuries of whispered knowledge. It's here, in these dimly lit rooms, that the seeds of education are planted and nurtured. Far from the bustling towns and courts, you listen as a patient monk guides his charge through the intricate rhythms of Latin prayers and scripture, words flowing like a gentle current that both challenges and comforts. The repetition of chants creates a soothing pattern, even if the occasional stumble or mispronunciation brings a subtle smile or a quiet correction. After all, memorizing long lines of sacred text is no small feat, especially for those whose early days were filled more with manual labor than with books. The monastery serves as one of the few sanctuaries of knowledge during the Middle Ages, a beacon in a world where literacy is a rare and precious skill. Here, Education isn't just about reading and writing, it's a disciplined journey of the mind and spirit, where learning intertwines with faith and daily devotion. You imagine the novices hunched over their manuscripts, sometimes dipping quills in ink with shaky hands, and the master scribes meticulously copying texts to preserve ancient wisdom. The rhythmic scratching fills the room, punctuated by the soft turning of pages and the occasional whisper of a shared insight. Each letter crafted with care, each word a link in the chain of knowledge stretching back through time, beyond the study rooms. The monastery's library holds countless treasures, texts on theology, philosophy, medicine, and classical literature, all preserved through this careful, reverent work. This is where monks safeguard the intellectual heritage of the past, ensuring that even in turbulent times, the flame of learning continues to burn. Amid the seriousness, you catch moments of gentle humor, perhaps a novice's forgotten lines, or a friendly tease over a particularly tricky passage. It's a reminder that even within these solemn walls, humanity thrives in all its imperfect grace. As you settle into this world of quiet learning, you can almost hear the soft murmur of Latin lessons, the scent of ink and parchment enveloping you in a timeless embrace. Here, in this gentle pursuit of knowledge, the monastery holds a promise that through study and reflection, the soul may grow even as the body rests, and as the candles burn low, their flickering flames echo the steady light of understanding that guides these humble scholars. Night after peaceful night, the study of texts here isn't limited to religious matters alone. You picture monks poring over treatises on natural philosophy, medicine, and even early sciences, carefully copying, and sometimes annotating their curiosity, quietly bridging ancient knowledge and medieval faith. Their work is painstaking but vital, a delicate balance of devotion and intellectual rigor that preserves the wisdom of ages. Outside the classroom, the novices practice lessons in humility and obedience, learning not just words but the discipline to live by them. The educational rhythm is slow and deliberate, a contrast to today's rapid-fire learning, but perfect for reflection and deep understanding. The soft scratching of quills becomes a metronome for a life paced by contemplation and steady progress. Occasionally, a young monk's gaze lifts from the manuscript, catching the sunlight filtering softly through the small, latticed windows. You sense the quiet pride in mastering a difficult passage, or the shared satisfaction when a group completes a challenging lesson. The atmosphere is one of nurturing patience, where mistakes are part of the journey, and every day brings a new chance to grow. You can almost hear the faint echo of medieval Latin prayers and chants mingling with the rustling pages, creating a lullaby of learning that wraps around you like a comforting shawl. This is education as a sacred act, a way of connecting to something greater while cultivating the mind's light. And so, within these stone walls, illuminated by candle and conviction, the seeds of knowledge take root, quiet, enduring, and full of promise, carried forward by generations of monks who understood that learning was both a duty and a gift. The gentle glow of candlelight fades softly as the day's lessons come to a close, leaving you with a peaceful sense of having witnessed a world where knowledge and devotion intertwine. The monastery's quiet halls hold the echoes of whispered wisdom and steady hands, crafting a legacy that would endure far beyond these stone walls. You find yourself stepping quietly into the monastery's guest house, a humble building set apart from the more austere cloisters and chapels. The low wooden beams overhead creak gently with the weight of years, while a modest hearth crackles softly, sending flickers of warm light across stone walls. It's a place of respite, a sanctuary for travelers weary from long journeys and uncertain roads. The air carries the mingled scents of smoke, fresh bread, and a faint trace of herb sage, rosemary, perhaps a hint of lavender tucked in a corner. These simple comforts tell stories of care, even in this quiet, unassuming space. You can almost hear the hushed exchanges of greetings, the muted footsteps on worn floorboards, and the gentle clink of wooden bowls passed between hands. Hospitality, in a medieval monastery, wasn't just about offering shelter. It was a sacred duty, woven into the very fabric of monastic life. The rule of Saint Benedict, guiding these walls and hearts, declared that every guest who arrives should be welcomed as Christ himself. That sense of spiritual generosity fills the room, infusing every gesture, no matter how small. Imagine a traveler, arriving, perhaps at twilight, weary from days on the road, dust clinging to worn shoes, clothing threadbare, but spirit hopeful. The gatekeeper, a kindly brother with a gentle smile, welcomes them in. Their footsteps, slow as they cross the threshold into this haven, feeling the soft heat from the fire, the promise of rest. In the modest dining area, a long wooden table waits, its surface scarred with years of use but polished smooth by hands that have known countless mealtime conversations. Simple loaves of coarse bread, bowls of pottage thick, nourishing stew made from local vegetables and grains are laid out. There's no extravagance here, no lavish feast, but plenty of warmth and plenty of care. The act of sharing food becomes a quiet ritual of community and comfort. Imagine breaking bread alongside strangers who, for the moment, are bound together by need and kindness. The murmured prayers before the meal speak to a shared humility, a collective gratitude. It's a reminder that even in scarcity, generosity can bloom. Beyond the guest house, the monastery's commitment to charity extends into the surrounding village. You might hear the soft rustling of sacks filled with grain or bundles of firewood being distributed to those in hardship. Monks and lay brothers move with purpose and quiet dignity, offering aid not with pomp but with sincere compassion. Visualize the almoner's humble officer's small room, where ledgers record the needs of the poor and the gifts the monastery can spare. Here, decisions are made about who might receive a bit of extra grain, who might be helped to mend a roof, or who might find a warm cloak to stave off winter's chill. Charity was not merely an act of kindness, it was a profound expression of faith, a tangible way to live the teachings of Christ amid the harsh realities of medieval life. The monastery stood as a beacon of hope, a reminder that even in times of suffering, the bonds of humanity and care could hold fast. Imagine the quiet dignity of the guests in the guest house. After a day's journey, the soft rustle of straw mattresses, the gentle breathing of those finally at rest. The flickering candlelight casts dancing shadows on the rough-hewn walls, lending an almost sacred hush to the space. You might hear the occasional whispered prayer, a lullaby of faith and comfort. Outside, the sounds of night and owls' distant call, the rustle of wind through ancient trees blend with a steady rhythm of monastic life, a harmony of silence and service. Here, hospitality is not just a moment but a way of being, an enduring testament to the monastery's role as a sanctuary in a world often unkind. Even as you imagine these scenes, it's easy to feel the gentle pulse of care that defined this place. Hospitality offered not with grand ceremony, but with open hands and open hearts, a refuge for body and soul alike, where the stranger was never just a visitor, but a cherished guest, embraced within the quiet sanctuary of the monastic walls. As you settle deeper into this quiet refuge, your senses attuned to the subtle rhythms of monastic charity. The evening air carries the faint murmur of soft conversations, grateful voices sharing stories, cautious hopes, or silent prayers. The flickering flames in the hearth seem to breathe warmth into the very stones, softening the rough edges of a hard world outside. You might imagine a humble monk moving through the guest house with gentle steps, carrying fresh water in a wooden bucket, replenishing pitchers by the basin, or offering a warm cloth to a weary traveler. These small acts, repeated day after day, with a fabric of care stronger than stone or mortar. In another corner, the almoner quietly sorts through bundles of herbs, bread, and clothes, preparing gifts for those in need. The scent of dried lavender mingles with the earthy aroma of freshly baked rye, grounding you in the simple but profound acts of generosity. Even the architecture supports this spirit. Wide doorways open to the courtyard, welcoming light and air, symbolizing the openness of the monastery's heart. Outside, the garden grows quietly, a patchwork of medicinal plants and vegetables, offering both sustenance and healing to the community. As night deepens, the guest house grows still, but the spirit of hospitality lingers in the gentle glow of lanterns and the echo of whispered blessings. You can almost feel the enduring warmth of shared humanity here, a reminder that even in the simplest places, kindness can shine like a beacon. So as you rest within this imagined refuge, allow yourself to be soothed by the thought of a monastery, where every guest, stranger or pilgrim, found a place of welcome, a haven shaped by faith, service, and the timeless grace of hospitality. Under the soft veil of night, the monastery stands as a quiet guardian of compassionate place where every flicker of candlelight carries the promise of refuge, and every shared loaf speaks of community. Let this gentle vision of hospitality settle around you like a warm cloak, inviting peace and rest as you drift softly toward your own quiet sanctuary. You wake to the soft rustle of coarse fabric brushing against stone walls, the familiar weight of your habits settling around you like a second skin. It's not just any clothing. These simple robes, cords, and hoods are woven threads of centuries-old tradition, a tapestry of symbolism and practicality. Imagine the rough, yet comforting texture of wool, slightly scratchy at first but growing softer with each wash and wear, the muted earth tones blending with the stone cloisters around you. The habit is designed to be modest and unassuming, reflecting a life of humility and devotion. You run your fingers along the folds, thick fabric that offers protection against the biting cold mornings and the occasional drizzle that soaks through thinner layers. The hood, when pulled up, shields you from both sun and rain, casting shadows that deepen the solemnity of your morning prayers. But it's not all solemn grace. Picture the times when the cord that cinches the robe decides to loosen at the most inopportune moments, or the way the bulky fabric can catch on wooden door frames as you move through the monastery's narrow halls. There's a kind of gentle humor in these small wardrobe misadventures, moments that remind you of the human side beneath the sacred. Beyond its practicality, each part of the habit carries meaning. The color, often a humble brown, gray, or black, speaks of renunciation of worldly vanity. The cord tied around the waist is more than a belt. It symbolizes the monk's commitment to spiritual discipline, often knotted in specific patterns, representing vows like poverty, chastity, and obedience. You feel the subtle pressure of the cord, a constant reminder of the promises, embraced with quiet strength. The fabric's weight and texture also connect you to the rhythm of monastic life, sturdy enough for the labor in the gardens, durable for hours spent in study or prayer, yet simple enough to avoid distracting from contemplation. Imagine walking through dew-damp gardens or sunlit cloisters, the habit swaying gently with each step, a silent partner in your daily devotion. Occasionally, the habit becomes a shield against the elements, the wool soaking up cold rains or the hood offering a reprieve from harsh winds. The scent of damp fabric mixed with the earthy aroma of stone and wood fills the air, grounding you in the moment. This simple garment, far from luxury, wraps you in centuries of faith and shared purpose. As you move about, you notice the subtle differences in habits among the brothers, slight variations in color or hood shape that hint at different orders or ranks. Each variation, though minor, holds stories of distinct traditions and histories woven quietly into the monastery's fabric. The habit is more than clothing. It's a statement of identity and belonging. You feel its weight as a comfort, a symbol of a life stripped to essentials, devoted to prayer, work, and community. Its simplicity invites you to shed distractions, focus inward, and connect deeply with both the spiritual and the tangible world around you. In these robes, you are part of a long chain stretching back through centuries, each thread linking you to those who walked these halls before, who sought solace and purpose beneath the same folds. The habit whispers of humility, endurance, and quiet dignity, wrapping you in a calm that echoes the monastery's timeless peace. The fabric brushes softly as you adjust the sleeves, feeling the slight coarseness that reminds you how these robes aren't made for comfort alone, but for discipline. They humble you, reminding you daily that you belong to something greater than yourself. Imagine the countless mornings when, wrapped in this same cloth, monks before you rose from their beds to greet the dawn with prayer and work. The simplicity of the habit contrasts sharply with the outside world's extravagance, yet it carries its own richness, a richness of meaning and intention. Think of the moments when the soft folds catch the light of flickering candles during evening prayers, casting gentle shadows on ancient stone walls. There's a sacred beauty in this unadorned garment, a silent witness to a life devoted to faith. Sometimes, the weather plays its part. The weight of rain makes the habit cling heavily, and the chill of winter seeps through even the thickest wool. But it also warms you, in a paradoxical way, wrapping you in the monastery's protective embrace. You feel connected to the earth beneath your feet and the heavens above. all through this simple robe. And yet, there's humor to the times. When the habit's loose sleeves get caught on a branch while tending the garden, or when the hood slips down mid-prayer, causing a fleeting moment of self-consciousness. These small imperfections remind you that even in a life dedicated to perfection, the human element remains. The habit is a tactile meditation, its texture and weight grounding you in each step, each breath. As you wear it, you carry the legacy of centuries of monks who sought meaning beyond material things, who found peace in the rhythm of prayer, work, and contemplation, all wrapped in the folds of this humble garment. So, as you settle into your day, feel the habit around you, its threads weaving together the practical and the spiritual, the ancient and the immediate. Let it remind you that in simplicity lies strength, and in humility, profound beauty. Wrapping up this gentle exploration of the monastic habit, you carry with you a quiet appreciation for the blend of symbolism and practicality woven into every thread. The simple robes, humble yet profound, are more than just clothing. They are a daily embrace of purpose, community, and timeless tradition. As you rest now, let the softness of these reflections settle, inviting calm and connection to a life both disciplined and deeply human. You'll find yourself stepping gently into a monastery transformed by the quiet joy of a feast day. The usual austerity of stone walls and humble furnishings softens under the warm glow of candles and the delicate shimmer of fresh greenery adorning the chapel. Imagine the scent of evergreen boughs mingling with the faint aroma of beeswax and incense, curling through the cool air like a whispered promise of celebration. Around you, the soft murmur of voices grows, rising into harmonious chants that fill the high vaulted ceilings. The monks, usually reserved in their daily rhythm, lift their voices in ancient hymns, their melodies weaving a tapestry of devotion and solemn joy. It's a sound both soothing and invigorating, like a river flowing steadily yet full of quiet power. You notice the chapel's decorations, a modest display, yet rich in meaning. Wreaths of herbs and flowers hang gently from the arches, their colors muted but alive against the stone. The flickering candlelight catches on simple wooden crosses and embroidered altar cloths, making them glow with a gentle reverence. These small touches create an atmosphere where the sacred feels both close and expansive, inviting reflection and communal warmth. The festival days punctuate the monastic calendar, moments when the routine gives way to ritual celebration. Feast days mark the remembrance of saints, holy events, or agricultural milestones, occasions for both prayer and shared community. You sense the subtle shift in energy, the monks' movements a little more buoyant, their smiles perhaps a touch more frequent. It's not that the rules loosen entirely. There's no grand excess here, but within the boundaries of monastic discipline, joy finds its own quiet expression. As the chanting subsides, the monks gather for the communal meal, a simple yet meaningful affair. The refectory, usually a place of silent, meditative eating, holds a slightly different spirit today. The long wooden tables are set with plain bowls of pottage, coarse bread, and seasonal vegetables, nothing extravagant, but prepared with care. The occasional clink of wooden spoons and the soft murmur of conversation remind you that even in restraint, fellowship flourishes. You can almost hear the light-hearted teasing exchanged over bowls of hearty stew, and the gentle laughter that bubbles up when a monk accidentally drops a crust or misquotes a prayer. The celebrations are a blend of solemn devotion and human warmth, a dance between sacred purpose and the natural delight of shared moments. Behind the scenes, the preparation itself is a ritual. Imagine the monks in the kitchen, their hands steady as they knead dough or chop vegetables, their faces serene but focused. The simplicity of ingredients contrasts with the care lavished on every step, an embodiment of the monastic ideal that finds sanctity in even the humblest tasks. The balance between joy and restraint during these festivals reflects the deep spiritual discipline of monastic life. There is no room for excess or indulgence, yet within the limits, there is freedom to celebrate the gifts of community, faith, and the passing seasons. You feel this delicate harmony as a calming rhythm, a gentle reminder that even in simplicity, life can hold moments of light and laughter. As you let your thoughts drift through this tranquil scene, the echoes of the choir's final hymn linger, softly, mingling with the crackling of a distant fire and the gentle rustle of cloaks moving through stone corridors. The warmth of these celebrations invites you to rest, embraced by a world where devotion and joy quietly intertwine. The monastery, with its ancient stones and timeless rituals, holds space for both solemnity and celebration. You settle into this peaceful understanding, imagining the flickering shadows dancing on the walls as the monks prepare to close their feast day with prayers of gratitude and hope. This gentle pause in the monastic rhythm reminds you of the beauty found in balance, a lesson as relevant now as it was centuries ago. Whispering softly as you drift deeper into calm, the festival day gently winds down, leaving behind a soft glow of contentment and peace. As you imagine the monks returning to their cells, you notice how the sense of community lingers in the air, an invisible thread weaving through the monastery's quiet halls. The day's celebrations, though modest, have nourished not just the body, but the spirit, reminding all present of the simple joys found within devotion and shared purpose. Outside, the evening settles like a velvet cloak over the cloister garden, where shadows stretch long and the scent of herbs drifts softly on the cool breeze. The monks take their evening strolls here, walking slowly beneath the stone arcades, their footsteps muted on the worn flagstones. The day's vibrant energy gives way to a contemplative hush, inviting reflection on the blessings and disciplines that shape their lives. You might picture a few candles still flickering by the chapter house or scriptorium windows, where some monks continue their silent work, inspired by the day's sacred celebrations. The monastery's timeless rhythm resumes each moment, a quiet thread in the fabric of monastic life. And so, the feast day closes not with fanfare, but with a gentle stillness, an enduring reminder that within the monastery's walls, joy and restraint are intertwined, teaching patience, gratitude, and the beauty of mindful celebration. As you rest within this calm scene, let your thoughts drift with the fading candlelight, settling into peaceful quiet, ready to carry this serene spirit into your dreams. You step softly through the monastery's cool stone corridors, the walls whispering secrets of centuries past. The air is crisp and carries a subtle chill, tempered by the faint warmth from distant hearths. Your footsteps barely make a sound on the uneven flagstones, swallowed quickly by the deep hush that blankets this sacred space. It's a silence so profound it feels almost like a presence itself, thick, comforting, and unyielding. The soft rustle of robes brushing against stone, the gentle sigh of breath, and the faint flicker of candle flames are the only companions here. In this quiet, your senses sharpen. You notice the faint scent of beeswax from candles burned low, the delicate aroma of ancient timber, and the distant echo of a whispered prayer. Every moment seems suspended, wrapped in stillness. Silence here isn't just the absence of noise. It's a sacred gift, a spiritual tool crafted by centuries of monastic discipline. It shapes the rhythm of life, a pause between the measured chanting of psalms, a breath held before the next act of devotion. You sense how this silence invites inward reflection, a journey deep within where words dissolve, leaving space for presence and peace. But silence is not always easy. As you linger in the cloister's quiet embrace, you can almost feel the tension that comes from holding stillness for hours, even days. The mind, accustomed to chatter and distraction, often resists. Thoughts bubble up, memories surface, and a sense of loneliness may press gently against the soul. Yet this very challenge makes silence all the more precious, a test of faith and endurance, an opening to transformation. Imagine yourself seated in a modest cell, a simple wooden bench, your only companion. The daylight fades softly through a small window, shadows growing long. Your breathing slows, matching the calm rhythm of the monastery outside. In this solitude, distractions fall away, and an unexpected calm settles deep inside. It is here that the silence reveals its true power, a stillness that speaks louder than any words. As you wander through the garden cloister, the silence intertwines with the soft rustling of leaves and the distant song of a solitary bird. Even nature seems to bow to the quietude, honoring the sacred space where contemplation flourishes. The garden's stone benches invite you to sit, to rest, to simply be. Here, solitude and silence become intertwined companions, nurturing your spirit. Silence in the monastery is also a communal practice. Though each monk walks this path alone, the shared commitment to quiet creates an unspoken bond. You feel the invisible threads that connect every soul here, a collective breath held in reverence, a communal surrender to stillness. It's a reminder that solitude need not mean isolation. Yet, silence also holds its shadows. The quiet can sometimes feel heavy, a reminder of what is withheld: laughter, conversation, the simple warmth of human voices. You might catch yourself longing for the comfort of a friendly word, the ease of shared stories. But in this tension lies a paradox. In the absence of sound, the heart learns to listen more deeply, to find company in the sacred rhythm of being. There are moments when silence gives way, not to noise, but to subtle sounds, the delicate turning of a page in the scriptorium, the soft footsteps of a brother moving to his prayer, the distant tolling of the bell marking the next hour of the divine office. Each sound is gentle, respectful, as if aware it exists within this tender stillness. Silence in the monastery is also a teacher. It reveals patterns of the mind, the rise and fall of emotions, the quiet urgings of the spirit. In this quiet, distractions peel away, leaving space for insight and growth. You can almost sense the centuries of souls who have sat here before you, learning from the same silence, growing stronger in its embrace. Imagine the soft crackle of a fire in the evening, the faint glow casting long shadows on the stone walls. In the dim light, silence wraps around you like a cloak, inviting rest and renewal. This silence is not emptiness, but fullness, a sacred container holding your day's joys and struggles, hopes and fears. As you breathe deeply, you feel how this silence seeps into your bones, steadying the restless mind and calming the racing heart. It becomes a sanctuary, a place where the spirit can lay down burdens and find peace. The silence of the monastery is a gift that unfolds slowly, revealing layers of depth and connection. You may wonder how such profound quiet can coexist with the demands of daily monastic life, the work, the prayers, the communal tasks. Yet, in the ebb and flow between sound and silence, noise and stillness, the monks find balance. Silence punctuates the day like a gentle metronome, marking time and guiding the soul. Consider the ancient rule of Saint Benedict, which enjoins the community to practice silence, especially during certain hours. This discipline is not merely about refraining from speech, but cultivating an inner stillness that opens the heart. It's a sacred pause, a space where the divine can be heard. Picture now the monks moving in silence from chapel to cloister, their footsteps light but purposeful. Each step is a prayer, each breath a meditation. The sacred gift of silence permeates every corner, infusing the monastery with a serene presence that invites you to slow down, to listen, to be in this quiet world. You discover how silence holds its own music, the gentle hum of life unfolding in stillness. It is a melody composed not of notes, but of pauses, spaces, and the tender presence of being. And as you rest here, you too become part of this ancient song. So, as the day fades into night, and the monastery settles into deeper quiet, you carry this gift of silence with you, a gentle reminder that sometimes the most profound connections happen in the spaces between words, in the sacred hush that invites peace to grow. You find yourself stepping softly into the quieter, yet no less purposeful world of the convent, where nuns follow a rhythm of life, both similar and distinct from their brothers in the monastery. The stone walls here are worn smooth by generations of gentle hands, and the air carries a hint of lavender and beeswax, mingled with the faint, ever-present scent of parchment and ink. Morning light filters through stained glass windows, casting pools of soft color on the cloistered garden. The nuns rise from their simple beds, rough linen sheets tucked carefully beneath thin woolen blankets, to begin their day. You hear the gentle rustle of habits as they move through their chambers, the soft steps echoing in the narrow halls. Like the monks, their day is framed by the divine office, the cycle of prayers sung or spoken throughout the hours. You imagine their voices rising in quiet harmony within the chapel's vaulted stone, the flicker of candle flames illuminating faces turned heavenward. The chant is less loud, more meditative perhaps, wrapping the space in a tender embrace. Their routines extend beyond prayer, tending to herb gardens bursting with rosemary, sage, and thyme. sewing or weaving cloth for the community, copying sacred texts or illuminating manuscripts with delicate care. The texture of their work is intimate, the smoothness of vellum beneath fingertips, the scratch of quill on parchment, the coolness of clay pots filled with water for the kitchen hearth. Unlike monks, many nuns lived within the surrounding villages, as well, bridging cloister and community, offering care to the sick and counsel to those in need. You can almost hear the soft exchanges in humble parlors, the quiet footsteps of sisters visiting neighbors, their presence a soothing balm amid daily struggles. Yet the convent was also a place of strict discipline. The rhythm of life demanded silence, obedience, and humility. You sense the balance each sister maintained between solitude and sisterhood, work and worship, contemplation and service. While monks often focused on preserving texts and tending to agricultural lands, nuns infused their days with acts of charity, education, and healing, weaving spiritual devotion into the very fabric of village life. The community bonds were strong, a network of support within the enclosure and beyond. The modest clothing they wore, simple habits dyed in muted earth, tones clung to their slender frames, practical but laden with symbolism. The veil representing their vows, the rope belt a reminder of their commitments. You can almost feel the weight of fabric, the gentle brush of sleeves as they fold hands in prayer or reach out in kindness. Occasionally, you hear a light laugh or a whispered conversation, moments of warmth amid the solemnity, hinting at the humanity beneath the habit. Perhaps a sister sharing a secret smile over a mischief of garden rabbits, or the successful bloom of a rose bush. Education thrived here too. Young novices learned the Latin prayers, the psalms, and the crafts necessary for the community's survival. The candlelit rooms echoed with soft recitations and the turning of pages, a quiet hum of learning passed down through patient guidance. The convent's architecture mirrored its spirit-enclosed cloisters for silent walks, simple for shared meals, and small oratories glowing with the light of devotion. The gardens, tended with care, offered a sanctuary of beauty and contemplation, filled with the hum of bees and the rustling of leaves. That as the day wanes, you imagine the sisters gathering again for evening prayers, their voices blending with the fading light, a lullaby of faith and fellowship. The world outside may rush and roar, but within these walls, time seems to slow, shaped by cycles of prayer, labor, and quiet companionship. Here, in this sacred space, the role of women unfolds in soft strength and enduring grace, a parallel journey of dedication that shaped medieval spirituality as profoundly as any monastery. When you think of their lives, you're reminded that devotion is not only spoken aloud in grand cathedrals, but whispered gently in the corners of cloistered gardens, where every breath and every step is a prayer. You find yourself drawn deeper into the rhythms of convent life, where each day unfolds with a gentle predictability that offers both comfort and challenge. Imagine the dawn breaking softly over the garden walls as the sisters prepare to face their duties, both spiritual and practical. The novices, young women just beginning their journey, move with a mixture of eagerness and reverence. Their hands, still learning the art of illumination or the careful stitching of vestments, tremble slightly with the weight of responsibility and the hope of belonging. Their voices, a bit uncertain, join the chorus of chants in the chapel, their prayers weaving into the fabric of communal worship. You might hear the soft murmur of Latin lessons, the patient repetition of prayers, and the occasional laughter that bubbles up when a line is mispronounced or a quill spills a blot of ink. It's a world where learning is slow but steady, nurtured by kindness and discipline. The elder sisters, seasoned in their vows and duties, move with calm assurance. Their faces, marked by years of devotion, reflect a quiet strength. You see them tending to the sick in the infirmary, their hands gentle yet sure as they apply poultices made from the garden's herbs. The scent of lavender and chamomile mingles with the faint metallic temps of tinctures and salves. Meals are simple, but shared with a sense of community. Picture the refectory, long wooden tables lined with bowls of coarse bread, steaming pottage, and modest servings of cheese or fruit. The clatter of wooden spoons, the soft shuffle of feet, and the occasional murmur of conversation fill the space, all under the watchful eyes of the abbess, who ensures order and grace. Outside, The garden thrives under the sisters' carows of medicinal herbs, blossoming flowers, and neat vegetable patches. The work is steady and grounding, a way to connect with the earth even as their minds and hearts reach toward the divine. You can almost feel the rough texture of the garden, soil beneath their fingers, the warmth of the sun on their backs, and the cool breeze rustling through the leaves. Each task, whether sowing seeds or mending robes, is infused with intention and prayer. The convent also serves as a beacon to the surrounding community. Travelers find shelter here. The poor receive alms. Children may come for lessons in reading or needlework. The nun's role extends beyond the walls, weaving the sacred into the everyday lives of many as evening approaches. The sisters gather once more for prayer, their voices rising in solemn chant as the candles flicker and shadows lengthen. The day's labors give way to contemplation, the heart settling into the stillness that defines monastic life. You sense the delicate balance. The nuns maintain a life of humility and service, of joy and sacrifice, of solitude and sisterhood. It's a tapestry woven from simple threads, but rich in meaning. The day in the convent winds down gently, leaving you with the quiet echo of prayers and the soft glow of fading candlelight. In this sacred space, the lives of the nuns remind you of resilience shaped by faith and community, a world both humble and profound, where every small act holds deep purpose. The warmth of their dedication lingers, inviting you to carry a sense of calm and reflection as you drift toward rest. You step quietly into the monastery's library, a sanctuary of stillness and whispered knowledge. The air is cool, carrying the faint, almost sacred scent of aged parchment and leather-bound volumes that have witnessed centuries of hands and minds. Your footsteps are softened by woven rugs, and the flickering light of iron sconces dances gently on rows of wooden shelves, laden with scrolls and codices. Start here. Time slows. The shelves seem endless, stretching like silent sentinels guarding treasures of wisdom and mystery. You can almost feel the weight of the knowledge resting on each spine and the soft texture of vellum beneath fingertips, worn smooth by monks, dedicated to preserving every letter, every idea. As you settle into a wooden chair, you notice a monk nearby, bent intently over a manuscript, quill poised delicately in hand. The scratch of ink on parchment is a soothing rhythm, punctuated only by the occasional turn of a fragile page. You imagine the care required to copy texts accurately, how a single error could ripple through generations of learning. The library was more than a storage room. It was the heart of intellectual life, a beacon during times when much of Europe lay in darkness. Monks here acted as guardians, not just of holy scriptures, but of history, philosophy, medicine, and the arts. Each book was a carefully curated piece of human heritage, preserved against the wear of time and the chaos beyond monastery walls. You lean closer to a manuscript, marveling at the intricate illuminations that adorn its margins. Tiny bursts of color amidst the black ink. These decorations, painstakingly painted by the monks themselves, turn reading into an experience of both intellect and beauty. It's easy to picture the hours spent under candlelight, the occasional sigh or hum as fatigue tried to sneak in, countered by a determined spirit, fueled by faith and curiosity. Curiosity, yes, that's another mood you sense here. Despite the solemnity, you imagine moments of quiet amusement among the monks, perhaps a whispered debate over a tricky translation, or the collective eye roll at a particularly dull copy task. After all, even in a world devoted to learning, boredom found its way through the stacks. Your gaze drifts to a cataloging table, where another monk carefully lists the day's acquisitions, his fingers stained with ink, his brows furrowed in concentration. The organization of knowledge was no small feat, requiring discipline and an eye for detail. You think about the irony. While outside, the world was often unpredictable and chaotic. Here, order reigned supreme. Every scroll had a place, every letter a meaning. The quiet hum of the library is occasionally broken by the soft closing of a book or the faint rustling of parchment as monks cross from shelf to shelf. You feel like a part of a timeless ritual, one that stretches beyond the walls and centuries, a human endeavor to capture and pass on the flame of understanding. You take a deep breath, inhaling the mingling scents of ink, paper, and the faintest hint of beeswax from the candles. It's a scent that seems to carry wisdom itself, a fragrant reminder that knowledge is a living thing, nurtured carefully and with great patience. As you look around, you can almost hear the echo of countless footsteps and whispered prayers, the rustle of robes brushing against stone floors, the quiet exclamations of discovery and frustration. This is a place of reverence, but also of relentless human effort where monks balance devotion with the pursuit of enlightenment. Here in the monastery's library, you realize knowledge was a kind of prayer, a meditation, a way of connecting with something larger than oneself. The weight of centuries presses softly, encouraging you to listen, to learn, and to remember. And as you prepare to leave, the soft closing of the heavy wooden door behind you feels like the gentle closing of a book, an invitation to return, whenever the world feels too loud, to this quiet refuge where wisdom waits patiently. Flickering softly like the candlelight that guides the way, you linger for a moment longer, letting the tranquility of the library seep into your bones. The silence here is not emptiness, but fullness, space where countless stories, thoughts, and prayers converge. It's easy to imagine generations of monks who, with steady hands and thoughtful minds, poured their lives into preserving this precious knowledge. Outside the library, the monastery carries on its steady rhythm of prayer, work, and contemplation. But here, within these stone walls lined with books, you sense a heartbeat of curiosity and devotion, intertwined, a sanctuary where the past is tenderly held, ready to whisper its secrets to those who listen. The soft flicker of candlelight casts gentle shadows on the manuscripts, and you feel a quiet gratitude for this world of patience and perseverance. For in the careful copying, the meticulous cataloguing, and the silent reading, the monks shaped a legacy, one that still breathes through every page turned, every word spoken in hushed reverence. With a final glance round the room, you rise and step away, carrying with you the weightless treasure of this place, the enduring power of knowledge, preserved by those who understood that wisdom is not just found, but made. One careful letter at a time, the quiet settles gently as you step away, the scent of old parchment lingering softly in the air. You carry with you a sense of calm reverence for the guardians of wisdom, their patient hands weaving a tapestry of knowledge that transcends time. In this stillness, the monastery's library remains a sanctuary, an eternal flame of learning glowing softly through the ages. You find yourself drawn into the monastery's chapel, a cool, shadowed space where stone walls rise up in solemn arches, and the soft flicker of candles casts gentle, dancing light. The air is filled with a haunting melody, a chant that seems to drift and weave through the ancient stones themselves, wrapping around you like a calm, familiar blanket. The monks stand or kneel in quiet rows, their faces serene yet focused, lips moving in unison as the melodic tones rise and fall in a steady, mesmerizing rhythm. It's Gregorian chant, a sacred music tradition that shaped much of medieval monastic life. Imagine the sound, smooth, flowing phrases with no sharp edges, no hurry, just a gentle unfolding of notes, simple yet profoundly moving. This chant isn't just music, it's prayer made audible. It fills the spaces between the stone pillars, and resonates in the vaulted ceilings, creating an atmosphere of stillness and reverence. Each note feels like a breath of the divine, a communal offering shared by voices that blend into one. As you listen, notice the intricate balance between solitude and togetherness. Each monk's voice is distinct, yet they form a unified whole, teaching us how community and individual devotion intertwine. The chants follow a set pattern, the divine office, marking the hours of the day, guiding spiritual life with a rhythmic grace. That the simplicity of Gregorian chant reflects a deep spiritual purpose. Without instruments or complex harmonies, the human voice alone carries the weight of prayer. It's a practice born from humility and devotion, inviting both monks and listeners into a meditative space where time seems to slow. Imagine the scent of incense curling in the chapel's air, mingling with the faint, cool aroma of ancient stone. The flickering candlelight casts shadows that dance softly on the walls, mirroring the gentle ebb and flow of the chant. You feel the quiet power of the music, a bridge between the earthly and the divine, a timeless echo of faith and hope. Chanting is also a lesson in discipline and presence. It requires focus and breath control, a mindful awareness that connects body, mind, and spirit. Even when the day is long and the tasks heavy, This ritual offers a moment of calm, a sacred pause amid the routine. There's a touch of lightness here, too. Sometimes, you can almost imagine a monk's slight slipper, mispronounced word, or a note, just a bit flat breaking the solemnity and reminding us all of the human in the holy. It's this blend of reverence and humility that makes the chant so deeply moving. Throughout the centuries, Gregorian chant has influenced much of Western music, its melody seeping into choirs and concert halls far beyond monastery walls. Yet here, in this simple stone chapel, it remains a living tradition, a gentle reminder of the power of collective voice and sacred sound. As the final notes fade softly into silence, you feel a quiet stillness settle over you. The chant has woven its spell, inviting peace, reflection, and connection. The music lingers in the air, a timeless gift from voices long past, echoing softly through the walls and your very soul. The chapel breathes with this sacred sound, and so do you, joined in a moment of harmony that transcends time, inviting calm and reverence in the quiet heart of the monastery. As the last echoes of the chant dissolve into the stillness, you notice how the monks gently lower their heads in silent contemplation, the sacred melody lingering not only in the chapel but also in their hearts. The space feels alive with a quiet energy, a sacred pause before the next part of the day unfolds. Imagine yourself slowly stepping outside the chapel, where the cool air carries faint whispers of the morning prayers. The peacefulness of the chant seems to seep into every corner of the monastery, wrapping around the cloistered gardens and sunlit stone walkways. The rhythm of their sacred music has become the heartbeat of the monastic day, guiding every moment. With grace and intention, the chant's simplicity is its strength. Without the distractions of instruments or complex harmonies, your mind can rest easy, carried gently on the waves of sound. It's almost like breathing, natural, calming, and essential. This music is not meant to dazzle but to soothe, to create space for quiet reflection and connection to something greater than oneself. You might even imagine the careful preparation that goes into this sacred music. The monks practicing their Latin pronunciations, the subtle coordination of voices blending together, the passing down of melodies from generation to generation. Each chant is a thread in the vast tapestry of monastic tradition, woven with care and devotion. And so, in the calm after the music, you find yourself carried deeper into the world of the monastery, where every sound, every silence, holds meaning. The chant has done its work, opening a door to stillness, to reverence, and to peace. With this gentle rhythm echoing in your mind, you prepare to move forward, carrying the calm and sacred presence of the chant into the next quiet moments of monastic life. The soft echoes of the chant fade slowly, leaving behind a serene hush that settles gently over the stone walls and cloistered gardens. In this quiet, you can almost feel the enduring spirit of those ancient voices, their devotion carried timelessly on the breeze. With each breath, the peacefulness lingers, inviting you to rest and reflect, wrapped in the sacred calm of the monasteries. Music. The day is winding down now, and you find yourself walking quietly through the monastery's dim corridors, the soft glow of candlelight casting long shadows on the cool stone walls. The air feels gentle, almost hushed, carrying the faint scent of beeswax and aged wood. You notice how the once bustling halls have settled into a calm stillness, like the monastery itself is taking a slow, deep breath. As evening descends, the monks begin their ritual of rest and reflection. You can hear their footsteps softened by worn sandals, echoing lightly as they make their way toward the dormitory. It's a simple space, lined with rows of wooden beds, each covered by a coarse blanket and a thin straw mattress. You can almost feel the rough texture beneath your fingertips, not quite luxurious, but enough to cradle a tired body after a day filled with prayers, work, and study. The cool night air drifts in through a small, shuttered window, brushing softly against the cheeks and stirring the pages of a closed book left on a bedside table. The temperature drops just enough to make you appreciate the modest warmth of the blankets and the steady rhythm of quiet breathing filling the room. As the monks settle, there is a gentle murmur of prayers, soft, reverent words spoken in unison, a lullaby of faith that echoes gently in the stillness. You might catch the occasional whispered response or the rustle of a robe, the familiar sounds of a community drawing together even as they prepare for solitude. It's a moment of profound peace, a shared pause between the intensity of the day and the embrace of night. You imagine lying back on that simple bed, the rough wood pressing lightly against your back, the weight of the coarse blanket comforting yet firm. Your muscles, weary from hours of labor and contemplation, begin to unwind. The coolness of the stone beneath seeps into your bones, urging your thoughts to slow, your breath to deepen. The monastery's architecture seems to hold you in a protective stillness, thick walls muffling the outside world's noises, the silence punctuated only by the occasional creak of timber or the distant hoot of an owl. In this sanctuary, even the smallest sounds take on a sacred quality, each one a reminder of presence and patience. You feel drawn into the rhythm of this space, the way light fades gently from candle flames, the way shadows stretch and mingle, the way the quiet becomes a kind of meditation. This is not just the end of a day, it's a tender closing of a chapter, an invitation to rest in the steady heartbeat of monastic life. As you breathe in the soft, cool air and listen to the peaceful chorus of whispered prayers, you're invited to let go of worries, of haste, of the world beyond these walls. The monk's example shows that there is wisdom in rest, in reflection, in the slow unwinding that prepares the soul for the coming dawn. Here, in this calm dormitory, nightfall is not just darkness, but a sacred space, a time for quiet gratitude, for gentle dreaming, and for the deep peace that comes when body and spirit find their pause. So, as you settle in beside this ancient community, feel the day's weight melt away, and allow yourself to drift softly toward rest. Wrapped in the comforting stillness of the monastery's evening embrace, the gentle hush deepens as more candles are extinguished, their flames snuffed out with careful breaths, leaving the room bathed in soft moonlight filtering through the narrow windows. Outside, the night air carries the faint rustle of leaves, a natural lullaby blending seamlessly with the rhythmic breathing of the monks. It's as if the entire monastery itself is breathing out, sighing into the quiet, surrendering to the restorative power of sleep. In these final moments before rest, your mind can wander freely, imagining the layers of history embedded in the stones beneath you, the countless footsteps that have crossed these floors, and the prayers whispered into this sacred space over centuries. You might picture the monks turning their thoughts inward, seeking solace and clarity in dreams that prepare them for the work and devotion of the day ahead. Feel the calm embrace you like a familiar cloak, soft and unwavering. Here, in this simple dormitory, there is no rush, no demands, only the steady pulse of tradition and tranquility guiding you gently into the night. With every breath, let the peace deepen. Allow the stillness to seep into your bones, nurturing a quiet strength that will greet the dawn. The monastery's evening ritual is a tender reminder that even in simplicity and austerity, there is profound beauty and rest. And now, as your eyelids grow heavy and your thoughts soften, you are invited to join this timeless rhythm, to rest, to dream, and to be cradled in the gentle quiet of the monastery's night.